Good morning and welcome to Eduscope. My name remains Dr. Iroro Stephen Izu. And on today's edition, we're going to commence a new series, on what I have captioned the 12 paradoxes of the Nigerian society. The 12 paradoxes of the Nigerian society. Nigeria is a country of contradictions. It's a country of antinomies. It's a country of conflicts. It's a country that could best be described as a conundrum, one mighty mystical reality that is waiting for plausible deconstruction, and demystification. Now, on this series, we're going to be looking at 12 paradoxes, 12 puzzles, trying by way of trying to deconstruct them and demystify them, and trying to prefer, solutions, to the Nigerian society that will make a better place, for every one of us. Now, the first paradox we're going to look at today is the paradox of democracy without dividends. The paradox of democracy without dividends. Now, democracy, by its general meaning, is a government or a system of government that is oriented towards alleviating, the plight and predicaments, of the people. The plight and predicaments of the people. Democracy is the government or the rule, by the people. The rule or the government by the people from its etymological meaning, democratia. Now, when we look at it from the point of view of Abraham Lincoln, a one-time president of America, we will see it as the government of the people, by the people, and for the people. That means the people are the heart, of democracy. Without the people, democracy, will fizzle away, and collapse, or and fall like a blighted shrub. So the people are the heart of democracy. Talk about the people, talking about the ordinary citizens, not the people as the leaders now, but the people, as the led. So democracy, primarily should favor, the cause, of the citizens, the cause of the led, the cause of the followers, towards bringing them out, from their state of tiredness, their state of frustration, their state of depression, their state, of poverty, their state of hunger, their state of want, and so on and so forth. Now, when democracy is not bringing about that reality, that means democracy is standing upside down. It becomes the madness of the many for the betterment of the few, according to Alexander, the Pope. So that is not what democracy should entail. Democracy should not be seen, as the iron law of oligarchy, whereby a few, benefits from the proceeds, of democracy. Democracy's proceeds, should be, for the masses, for the people, for the common, citizens of Nigeria. Now, the reason why there's a rising tide, in anti-democracy, movement in Africa, and of course, anti-democratic reality in Africa, in form of a military coups and counter coups, is because of the fact that, those who have been elected, via the vehicle of democratic elections, they have not lived up to the bargain, their own side of the bargain. Now, we can't have democracy, without Democrats. And it's only when Democrats become leaders, in democratic system of government, that the people, the demos, can actually benefit, from the process of democracy. Now, because you see you have democracy and you don't have dividends of democracy, that should favor or benefit the masses, that means you are running, at cross purposes, of the intent, and basic objective, of democracy. Now, if Nigeria is to be called a democracy, that means those who are piloting the affairs of the states, who are presumably, Democrats, must do their policies, their programs, their projects, every initiative that they are going to, embark on, as leaders, of the Nigerian state, must be people oriented, of the people centered, not for selfish aggrandizement, not for self aggrandizement, not for selfish, end. Now, so when the people are crying, are weeping, are wailing, are lamenting, are shedding tears as a result of the policies and programs, and projects of the government, that means, there is a problem, somewhere. That means there is a contradiction, somewhere. Now, how can we be living in a country, where, the roads that for instance, the roads that I met, or I saw, in my community when I was growing up as a child, today the roads are worse off. They are bad. They are completely dilapidated. In my hometown, in my state, and that is how it is across the country. In my hometown, talking about my hometown in Abraka, in Ethiopia's local government area, and across the state and across the country. When democracy does not favor the people, does not create jobs, does not create security, does not create infrastructures, does not make a better society, that means there is a contradiction, somewhere. Democracy becomes a different kind of government. Perhaps it could be described as what Escott Toyo, clearly, Professor Escott Toyo clearly, enunciated, several days before he died, as plutocracy. Plutocracy, government for the property class, government for the rich men. Democracy should not be converted to plutocracy or even kleptocracy. Kleptocracy, government of the thieves, by the thieves, and for the thieves. Democracy should be practiced as democracy by making sure that the policies of government, the programs of government, the initiatives of government, are people centered. Now we have representatives in the House of Reps. We have senators in the Senate. And yet, people are not consulted before policies are made. Now, the 10th National Assembly, has come up with its own legislative agenda beside the 8th agenda of the President Tinubu's administration. By way of trying to meet the yearnings of the people, and they are saying that the 10th National Assembly, is the people's, National Assembly. Now we are looking forward, to this reality where leaders will not make any law. Leaders will not even attempt to initiate a bill, in the National Assembly without consulting members of your constituency. It begins from there. If it is an executive bill, no executive bill will be projected or promoted to the National Assembly without the people's, without holding town halls, without holding town hall meetings, and so on and so forth, to get people's initiative and consent. When I say the people's initiative and consent, it does not mean, a few people who have been bought over, to, as self-acclaimed leaders, of the people. Go to the grassroots. Ensure that the people, have a buy-in to whatever policies and programs, they are trying to, initiate. Now, if the policy at the end of the day, if the initiative at the end of the day becomes very touches, on the people, as far as it is the people, as far as people have contribution, to the policies, they will bear it. But when you don't have the buy-in of the people, you just make policies, and programs. Any little headache that this policy and program will cause will be considered to be, highly, unacceptable to the people, because they will fight against it. That is what is happening to the subsidy, removal, initiative. So democracy must foster, must bring about the realization of some dividends to the people, some benefits to the people, in terms of their basic necessities: power supply, roads, rail, job creation, creating a secured environment society, for the people. We don't have that today. The paradox of democracy and without dividends is a paradox that need to be unpuzzled, that need to be answered by those in leadership, by doing the right thing, by ensuring that your actions lead to the betterment of the people. When we do this, society will gradually become a better place. It's not a day's job, but begin from somewhere. Ensure that whatever you are doing as a leader must enjoy the legitimacy, the support, of the people. And regardless of the hardship such policy will elicit, the people will bear it because they know that they have a buy-in into that policy. This is our first, video on the 12 paradoxes of the Nigerian society, and the remaining 11 we're going to be doing them, a video, per paradox. On the next time, I remain Dr. Eruro Stephen Izu. I'm a university lecturer. Thank you very much.